And so if you have to put a task on somebody that's younger or whatever that isn't in their wheelhouse, make sure they understand that it's just temporary. And the other thing is I always pay attention to like I use Time Doctor. And once I can see they're over 80% capacity of like working, they're over that 80%. I go and I offload some smaller tasks and hire maybe another VA to kind of take care of these lower end tasks because their skill level is going up.
Right, right. So now, and I heard you mention AI here for a little bit. How is AI coming into play in your industry? I mean, it's everywhere. Like, what are you doing? What are you using? And how's it coming into play?
I mean, any way possible. The biggest thing that we're doing is our podcast that is going to start next month is called BAM, Building Authority Through Media. And it is a 80s and 90s superhero cartoon style podcast with me, I'm Bam Man. And I every week team up with another superhero. And our first series is Journey Through the Land of LinkedIn. The first week I meet up with Misfit and we conquer content monsters, chasing cloud or just lacking confidence. Another week, we talk about the bio and biohazardous bios with Vivica Hess. And so we just go week by week and just kind of break it down, and we're going thing by thing. But we actually have produced a physical cartoon. So when you watch it, it's like a talking cartoon figure, and then we use like really cool B-roll because it's not quite there yet. But so that's one way we're using it, doing that. We're also building a couple of streaming networks. And those are going to be AI driven for the content. So they're going to be downloadable on Amazon. And this is all content for lawyers or people who need a lawyer. The other area that we use AI in is, workflows for ad copy, workflows for client services, workflows for data. It's a lot of workflow stuff. That's really, and you got to be careful because a lot of people are calling automations, which have been around for 20 years, as AI. And if you don't know enough, you're just like, oh, I just got this AI. And it's like, that's just an automation. It's been around for 8 years. But once you start, and like my team, I have talking about Gen Z, young man that started on my team. And this is literally how he got a job. Him and his mom used to own the cafe right across the street from me. And he'd always be sitting in there. He's like 21, just typing on his computer. And I'm one of those people, I just talk to whoever. I'll sit down with you. I'll chat with you. Old, young, black, white, poor, rich. I don't care. People are people. We all have stories. So I sat down with him one day and he was like, I was like, so what are you looking to do? Because his mom had kind of been like, hey, like, you could talk to him a little bit. He's just kind of aimless right now. And so I was like, well, what do you want to do? And he's like, well, kind of want to work online like how you do, where you can travel and be remote, and how, I'd love to be able to be that way. And I was like, okay. I was like, what are you doing to learn AI? And he's like, well, nothing. And I go, learn some AI, man. I said, there's nothing that will hurt you if you start taking some AI courses. He's like, okay. And I'm like, a month and a half, 2 months later, I don't think much about it, of the conversation. And he goes, hey, because it's kind of a quiet kid, he's like, hey, started taking some classes and, learning that AI stuff. Thanks for that. I was like, oh, how many classes have you taken? And he's like, I don't know, about 10 or 12 now. And I was like, you want a job? He's like, yeah. So he's the one that is basically going in, and he just goes and either does automations or AI, and that's his job in our company. And then now we can possibly, once we really get like we experiment in-house, we can now offer maybe a higher end style of podcast. Because I firmly believe that podcasts need to be not just good content, or as I like to say, meat on the table, but you got to have some seasoning or some good, some good production value, and you've got to have entertainment value. If you don't have those three things, and you can see that in every form of media, radio, television, in the beginning, it was just something. And then it was something better. And then it was something good. And now it's something great when you look at production. And, and not every show is great, but I think you see the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's some of the wild ideas you pitch to attorneys when you're talking to them about maybe doing a podcast or a show? I mean, you talked about an animated series for yourself, but like, what are some of the other crazy ideas? Like, again, if I'm an attorney and I say, hey, what can DM do for me that's different than Joe Schmo down the street that can get me the attention that I need?
I think that, for me, it's most attorneys don't want something like that. I'll just flat out be honest with you. What they want is to be seen as an authority. So like me, I can cut through the clutter and they can be like, wow, he's a clever marketer. But no one goes, wow, he's like, we don't really respect that, like attorney who's like, I am the justice deliverer of, you know what I mean? Like, now maybe you could take a PI attorney and do like a accident case, and they, those are the things that we could play with. But most attorneys right now, they just want to differentiate themselves by creating that authoritative positioning. So right now it's about feeding the language learning models, the chat GPTs and all of that, because you can get cited because now we're providing query-based content, which is really what the GPT and the LLM models want, the language learning models want. They want a question and an answer. Well, guess what we're doing for 21 minutes for our clients is 7 to 10 questions. And that's we're building authority building podcasts. We're not trying to be entertaining. We're trying to show them. This is what somebody said to me earlier today. I don't care about the bedside manner of my neurosurgeon. I don't need him to have a good bedside manner. And yes, it's great if the attorney is personable. It's great if they have a sense of humor. It's great if they're entertaining. It's great if they know how to emote and do a good job. But at the end of the day, if you hire somebody because they're entertaining and not a great lawyer, you're just as foolish as the person who hired somebody that was cheaper.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, there's an attorney that's on YouTube, Texas Law Dog or something like that.
I know you're talking about.
He's out there, and a lot of attorneys bust his chops. But I wonder, like, you often wonder, how does that guy make out? I mean, obviously he's doing something because he continues to make those videos. So,
yes, and I'm sure that he gets a very specific archetype of client. So, you know what I mean? Like, some of my clients, they're like FCC border compliance and, how to take your business and turn it into a franchise. So the people that are going to consume that content are not people who want to see how to make a franchise in a cartoon.